Okay. You're all set.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm calling the Southborough Board of Health meeting to order on Tuesday, December 10th, 2024. It is 9:05 a.m. and all board members are present. So our first order of business is public comment. So if you have a comment, feel free to raise your hand. Okay, no one's raising their hand, so we'll move on. Approval of the 11:12 and the 11:15 minutes. So Barbara put those together. Did anybody have any changes to those?
No.
Okay. So I'll move that we approve the 11:12:24 and 11:15:24 meeting minutes as presented.
Second vote aye.
Liz?
Zulak, aye.
And Malinowski's aye. Thank you. All right. Approval of the FY26 Board of Health budget. So Taylor put the budget together. So Taylor, do you want to take it from here on this? Or do you want me to do it?
Well, you have host privileges. Do you want to pull it
Oh,
up?
sure. Is going to look a little bit off from what we did for FY24. And the reason for that is that we hired our health agent and we had budgeted for the old structure in the FY24 budget. So overall, we actually are saving money, but it's not going to look like that in the budget. And the reason for that is that half of the health agent is not being actually paid by us, but it has to live in the budget. So the Northborough portion of the health agent is in our budget, and then we will get revenue from Northborough as payments, which doesn't offset our budget. So if we actually only had the expenses that Southborough is paying for in our budget, we would actually have reduced our budget from FY24 to FY25. That's not reflected in this, but I think we can easily explain that if anybody were to ask us at town meeting. But the good news is that because we had so much savings by restructuring the department, that our overall year-over-year overall percentage is not very high. So I will go ahead and share.
So how will that work with the funds? Will we get that offset later on in the year before the next? So how's that going to work exactly?
No, it actually won't impact our expense. Like we won't see any of it. Okay. Brian and Carla will have it built into their local receipts number. Mm-hmm. So it will actually, what should happen is that the portion of our budget that would increase taxes should actually not increase taxes, because they should be taking the revenue that Northborough will be giving us and offsetting the tax base. So it shouldn't increase the taxes overall, even though it looks like we're increasing 3.6%.
Yeah, that I just want to make sure. Okay, so if anybody asked, I have a clearer explanation of how that's being channeled. Okay.
Yeah. Barbara, can you make me co-host, please? I seem to have lost that.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So we promoted Taylor, and but we removed that other position, so we're not backfilling it. And then I know that we were re-rating Barbara's position. Do we also change her salary and update that, or a step up, or what's happening there?
Yeah, so what happened with that is the personnel board approved the updated addendum as part of the job description, and personnel board is going to review all of business admins together and then make a recommendation on that. So that is not included in this budget.
What's the timeline on that? I feel like we've been talking about that for like a year or more. Like, what is the timeline on getting that up? I'm also just cognizant of we have Melissa on the Conservation Commission side. We've been talking about like additional support while on leave. I assume that Barbara will be picking up some of that. Are we? And I don't know. So I'm just like, I want to make sure that everyone is covered here, or are we good there? Would you have a timeline, I guess, on when imagine that will be updated.
I don't think that they've met since the last time I got an update, Liz. So, but I believe that this is scheduled for their next agenda to discuss a timeline, but I actually did not attend the last meeting. But Taylor, do you know if they had a timeline on that?
If the last meeting that they had, personnel board had was the one that Barbara and I attended where they approved it, they did not talk about, and Barbara, you can correct me if I'm wrong, they did not talk about a timeline or
And-
schedule a next meeting.
And we like on our own can't just like update the step and update and like, you know, financially like make Barbara whole in that setting. We don't have jurisdiction to do that. It needs to all go through personnel board.
So historically, yes, I don't know of any scenario where where a department or an elected board has gone outside of personnel for somebody that is on the SAP. But we can have, this is a little bit off of like our agenda topic for, because this would actually be for FY25 if we're talking about while Taylor's out, because that won't impact the FY26 budget. So we can,
Okay,
we can,
sorry.
no, that's okay. I think it's a good question. But I didn't post for that specific agenda topic.
The personnel
Okay.
board talked about regrading and everything, that it would have to wait until the next survey comes through, the whatever company they use, and that's 2 years from now.
That wasn't for business admins. So again, we're off topic, so we're gonna move on from that. We can add it to a future agenda. I don't want to get too much into that topic because I didn't post for it.
Okay, no, I was thinking that this was this year's, you're right, but it's next year's budget. Okay, that sounds good.
Okay.
Can you pull it up, Chelsea, or no?
Oh, sorry. I got distracted. Okay. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Just make it a little bigger if you can,
Oh, okay. Well,
at the bottom right-hand corner.
is that better?
Thanks.
Okay, so, oh, and what I didn't say was personnel voted for a 5% increase, which includes
3%
Step.
COLA and a 2% step increase.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So that was voted by personnel board. Obviously, that needs to be voted as part of the budget process at town meeting. But that's what all the departments have been instructed, is to increase by 5% for any SAP employee. So the first line there is
Barbara's
portion of the salary that we pay for, and then the other portion, if you remember, lives in the assessor's budget. So we take the hours that she works here, and that's her line item. The
and
next
she
line
does,
item,
it's 60%, right, Barbara?
Yes, 60% here,
60% here.
40% there.
okay. The next one was Heather's line item. So you can see in FY24, it was 75,000. Sorry. FY25. We're in FY25. Yeah.
Yep.
FY25, it was 75,000. So we wiped that line item out because we don't have a part-time health director anymore. The nurse, that was Taylor for this year, prior to us promoting her. So that was 102,000. We're not backfilling the nurse, so that's why FY26 is 0. The health agent, that's a new position. So the 73,000 that you see for FY26 is the full expense for the salary portion of the health agent. And we will ultimately pay half of that because Northborough is going to reimburse us for the other half. But like I said before, it's not going to offset in this budget. So this is the full expense. And then the next line item is Taylor's new position plus the 5% increase from FY 25 to FY 26. The next line item is Barbara's longevity. So she got a bump this year because of her number of years of service. So that's why you see that increase from FY 25 to FY 26. We don't have any stipends. Next is, so that's all the salary. I'll stop there. Does anybody have any questions on the salary portion of those? Okay. Employee training seminars, that didn't change. Advertising didn't change. Printing services. So then we get to contracted services. So that's Dennis. So you can see from FY 22, FY 23, FY 24, and every year we had budgeted $64,224. He hasn't made more than 55,000 in any of the prior years. And obviously the reason why we were looking to hire a health agent is so that he has more flexibility on when he wants to work for us and when he wants to take time off. So we did reduce that line by almost $10,000 for FY 26. And then the other line items we did not change. So overall, we're at a 3.6% increase. And I just want to show you if we were to take half of the health agent salary,
Which is what we're actually doing, but it can't be reflected in the budget.
yeah, then we actually reduced our budget by almost 10%. Which was anticipated. So, I mean, that's what we didn't know when we started the shared position that we were going to have the full expense in the budget, but that's how it ended up. And I think it's completely explainable. So I'm going to stop sharing. I mean, unless you guys want to, this is like the worksheet that we use so that you have all your employees broken out that way. Any questions on that? Liz, I don't know if you could see all of that or not.
I can see it.
Okay.
I pulled over. Look at the budget. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, it looks like it's complicated, but it really isn't. It just doesn't match to what we did last year because we restructured everything. Questions?
It looks good to me. I don't know if you want to put out some sort of statement that kind of highlights the rest of town though, so they understand that it's not a change in budget. Or if we do something like that, because it is, I think as after I was saying, it is tricky. It does look like we're growing and we're not. So I don't know if it's worth trying to have a statement about it more formally.
I mean, I think if we were looking at like a higher percentage increase, like if we were looking at like a 10% increase, then I think that's like a red flag. I don't know that a 3.6 is gonna flag.
Won't raise any hackles. Okay.
You know, now if anything changes with for FY 26 related to the business admins, and depending on how that would impact the budget, maybe that would then inflate probably would inflate the percentage, and then maybe we would need to address it. But I don't know that like this percentage is going to need, if anybody asked a question, I think it wouldn't be any more than us just responding to in a town.
Yeah, I think also we have met with enough people that there's a lot of people who are aware of how this is working already when we went to approve the IMA. So I think, you know, other people in town are aware of the plan and how it works. So I do agree that I don't think we need to put anything out, but we just need to be able to explain it easily if someone comes and asks.
Yeah. And I'm happy to send the advisory chair a note because he was not involved in the IMA discussions. So I can just send him a note just so that he's aware. I don't know that we're going to get called in to present our budget or not. So even if we don't, it's good for them to understand that in the overall grand scheme of things, we're actually reducing. That sound good?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Sounds good.
And then the next, well, I'm just going to take both budgets at the same time and then we'll vote them. The next budget is the elected one, which is us. And we have $150 per elected board member per year. That has not changed in the last, I don't know. I don't even know how long it's been there. Longer than me. So that's the Department 510 budget. Okay. Any questions about either of those? Okay. So I will move that.
I have a question actually. Sorry
Yes.
about like that like whatever stipend thing. Is that normal for town boards?
Yes,
Mhm.
elected.
Interesting. Okay.
Elected
Elected.
boards.
Some elected boards get insurance, like health insurance.
Huh. Who knew? No, I mean, I remember it came up last year of like, oh, you're gonna get your $150 thing, and I was like, no, I'm not, just because I basically am too lazy to fill out the paperwork.
Yeah, I mean, so the reason why you would take it is like if you ever thought you would get like a municipal job, it actually counts towards your years, your 10 years. And then in your last 3 years, that's when your pension kicks in. So that's why some people take it.
Pro tip.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you do it for long enough. Now, if you were only to do elected Board of Health for 10 years, your pension for the $150 in your last 3 years would not,
No, that's helpful. Thank you for sharing that information about the why some people do it. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, so I mean, some towns like it could be a significant stipend. Like, I know $150 is you're taxed on that, and it's not worth your time to fill out the paperwork for the amount that you're getting, but yeah. Okay. So we're ready to vote on those? All right, so I move that we vote the 510 budget for $450 for FY26 and a total of $294,352 for budget 512, barring any changes that personnel board makes.
I second and vote aye.
Zulek, aye.
And Malinowski's aye. Thank you.
Great. I'll send those over to Brian after the meeting.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And I think what we've done in the past is if something has changed on the financial side, with personnel board, so like that's our blessing of like, the 5% and kind of like where everybody's steps and lanes are. Like if there was anything to change, what usually happens is personnel will vote it, and then we'll just vote again, which definitely has happened after the deadline. I think the deadline was yesterday to get our budget in, but we were meeting today, so that could happen. All right. Opioid settlement funds.
So at our last Greater Boroughs meeting, the topic of opioid settlement funds got brought up to see, basically put feelers out to individual boards to see if we were interested in all towns pooling, so all 4 towns pooling their money together and doing a project, which projects was not discussed. It was just more interest. Or if we kind of just decide to utilize our money how on our own, or how we choose to use it after we do like internal, so town like key stakeholder meetings, if that makes sense.
It does, and I think I emailed Taylor a little bit about some ideas that have been floating in my mind. It was a while ago. Taylor sent you and I think Isabella and a few other
Yeah.
people. And I think, you know, the idea of doing something shared may not be a bad idea in terms of there are grant funded things out there already that people are doing with youth, work with youth. And, you know, if we pool, that's something that could be done with the 4 towns. And it's a good chunk of money if you pool, like, you know, not all of it, but if you pooled 4 towns money together, a portion of that money together and work with the 4 towns, that could potentially be an idea. And I mean, I'm happy to take this with you to a meeting to talk about it. So that would be my thought about it, just looking at it briefly.
So I hear what you're saying. I just have a slightly different perspective, Safdar. I think
Mhm.
we already, you know, from the town makeup that we
Mhm.
have right now in the boroughs, we're most closely aligned with Northborough, and that's mostly because we share a school system, right? And obviously, whatever we do,
And we also share a substance use coalition
Right,
with
right,
just
right.
Northborough.
right? And we have Emily,
Mhm.
Our coordinator.
our coordinator between the 2 towns, which I think is great, right? And whatever we do at Melican, we want to do at Trotter, so that way when we all get to Algonquin, I mean, that's mostly on the school side, right? So that's where
Right.
we cross over a lot. I think my concern about doing it with all the boroughs is we're very different towns in terms of size and need. And I think I would not want our funds to become diluted by having 4 towns join together. I think that we already have some structures in place with Northborough, so that for me is like a more natural fit. Whereas, like if we just even take like staffing models that we use for the boroughs, like we don't necessarily share a lot of staffing with Westboro and Boylston. They get funds through the greater boroughs to be able to supplement their staffing. But people don't necessarily work in Westboro, Southborough, and Boylston. So my concern is that we just don't have that set up today where, you know, opioid settlement, yes, it's a lot of money, but at the same time, it's not a ton of money. And it's kind of like, what's that sweet spot to find the best use of those funds? And so I would be concerned about pooling all. And I would be more open to if there was a specific thing that we wanted to pool for, because we knew it would benefit everybody on the kind of same playing field. Fine. I just don't want to like, I'm uncomfortable committing to pooling funds completely right now. Does that make sense?
Another thing to consider is, you know, we're kind of in this like weird limbo spot where no decisions have really been made, but we have done a lot of background, myself, Sarah, and Isabella, work with the schools because I know they are looking into certain things to implement in the school side. And also, we are very interested in allocating funds to continue to supplement the salary for our coordinator. I have individual projects that, you know, I definitely want to get done here as well. Because we've just done like a broad spectrum, like this is what we really want, but we haven't dove into the money piece yet and sustainability of like, you know, funding a position or, you know, creating a new program at the school. What does that look like? I'm not sure how much money that would be. I think a fair amount of it. And that would be my concern is that, you know, we've done a ton of legwork looking into programs for schools and then not being able to utilize it because we put our money elsewhere for a program that I think a lot of people feel like we desperately need.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I think, you know, at least I think when I was looking at least with Northborough, that would be the main thing, right?
Yeah.
with Northborough, even if we'd include the others. I think that, and like you said, some of the funds could be exclusively Southborough. Like it's not like an allocation of all the funds pulled together, but definitely a lot more to come. I just wanted to throw the idea out there is that we could look for a big project that could benefit a lot and not have to fund all of it. That was like my thinking. Right.
I think if there's a way that we could, and I don't know if you're planning on taking like an official vote or not, Chelsea, but basically say we're not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, oh, sorry.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Liz.
I'm curious about like I'd be more open to make a decision if I had actual, like, if we keep the funds for Southborough, we will spend on X, Y, and Z.
Absolutely. And that's a problem, right? It's like, we're just not there yet.
Yeah, so I'd rather vote or like come to an agreement like that or vote once we have a better idea of what we'll be spending the funds on if possible.
Like, I think it's also reasonable to say, like, we're just not ready to commit to
Yeah.
pooling all of our money
Mhm.
until we do more research, like from the Southborough specific side. And then, like, I know people are anxious to start spending their money, and I feel like Southborough is in the same position, but I think just, budgetary wise or monetary wise, like we just need to do more research.
Well, and actually understand if we
We're looking for.
pool everything, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it sounds like the consensus is we're open to ideas, but we're not ready to commit.
Yeah.
Is that fair or not? Is that reasonable?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Okay.
Same.
And you think Burrows meets in January?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And I think I don't think we're expected to take an official vote. It's kind of just put feelers out on
Sure.
how we're feeling. And also I think the other hard part is like the only other town I know their structure in is Northborough, and their funds need to be approved through Board of Health and Select Board. So whereas us, it's just Board of Health. So they have a little bit more
Mhm.
people that it needs to go through for approval.
Okay. All right, next. Appointment of the town clerk, Jim Hegarty, to town burial agent. So this is something that we are supposed to do every year.
Mhm.
I think it used to happen.
We just learned about
And
it.
we didn't know. So this is more of just a formality. And there's certain things that Jim will be able to do that he currently can't do because he's not appointed. Anybody have any questions on that before I make a motion? Okay, so I move that we appoint town clerk Jim Hegarty to town burial agent. Is there a second?
Second and vote aye. Yep, second and vote aye.
Zuluk, aye.
Malinowski, aye. Thank you. Trash hauler regulations update and hearing date posting. So, do you want me to tee this up or do you want to?
You can start and I'll interject if I need to.
Okay. So, I wasn't really thinking about like how posting in a newspaper works. Like it's not like electronic, right? So, we heard back from council the day that we needed to post, which then led to us not being able to post because that would not have hit the newspaper with 2
Or today.
or right for today. So we missed that window. So we'll have to do it for January. And so we got comments back from council. DPW's reviewed the draft, and this actually will benefit them on some other paperwork that they do every year. And I'm not exactly sure what that means for them, but they really want this done. So that's they're very supportive of doing this. So that's good. So the goal is to get this posted for our January meeting and then have a public hearing. We do not legally need to have a public hearing, but perception wise, I think it's really important that we do. So that way we give the public notice and
Council also recommended
yes.
doing a hearing, so
Yeah.
we should do one.
So that's the update on that.
So that public hearing will be our January meeting, or we do that separately?
No, I'll just do it as part of our January meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just looking through, we might just have to adjust the effective, we'll have to adjust the effective date.
Okay. Because we had it for 1/1.
Mhm.
We had it for 12/31.
Okay. Barbara, how does that impact you, if at all, if we change the date?
It's fine. I have one trash hauler sent everything in. I've notified the other one, so
Okay.
it'll just affect him next year.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we're kind of already collecting most of the information, and there's one that Barbara says is compliant and one that she needs to usually nudge, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Barbara, would you want the date just to be like February or the end of next year?
No, put it in as February in case another company comes in.
Okay, so we'll do February, what, 1st, 2025? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll make that change and then send it to you, because I won't be here for that meeting.
And is there any harm in posting, like posting for the public hearing this week? Like,
No,
so that we don't, like, I know the holidays are crazy.
yeah, I'll get it into Wicked Local and stuff, so it'll be all set.
Okay. Great.
And just let me know what you need from me, Barbara,
Mm-hmm.
if anything. All right.
Body Works regulations.
Okay. Body Works regulations got sent to council last month. They responded back last week with some updates and questions for us. I had some unanswered questions that I threw back at them that I'm still waiting to hear about. So basically we are still in the process of working on them, but they are coming along. And the feedback was positive mostly, so from
Okay.
council.
Great. Any questions on that? Okay. So Taylor, do you think that we should continue to move this forward while you're out, and we'll,
Yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
think the piece of it that required me to be there is mostly done.
okay,
Hopefully, and I can nudge council again to try and get back to me in the next 2 days. But I can also just direct him to send it to you, Chelsea, if
Yeah.
need be. But I think the one main question that we had was about businesses that were already in place in town. That was the main question that I had that was not answered.
yeah,
So I don't think that requires me to be here for a decision to be made about that.
okay.
And then
And we
there
have
was
one?
also what
We have one currently in town, or no? More?
I believe, to my knowledge, only one.
Okay.
And then the other big question that I had was about Corey Story, which I asked as well. We are requiring them to have Corey Story and a mechanism to do that, because right now we don't do any Corey Story here in the health department. So we would either have to make a contract with
Sorry, what is Corey story?
a background check.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thanks. We would have to make a contract with police if they were agreeable to that, which I'm still waiting to hear what council's thoughts are, so I haven't reached out to them at all. Or do we require them to use like a third-party service? So
Got it.
I don't know the answer to that yet.
Okay.
I had one other question. When you said about the business that's currently in town and whether they would fall under these guidelines that we're putting in place, did we put forward a suggestion?
We did.
Which was what?
Let me pull it up. Give me 1 second. I think it's that they would have to come up to
Compliance, like within a year or
compliance
something?
with it. It's either 30 or 60 days.
Oh, okay.
That was the suggestion, but I had just put a little comment like, can we do this? because I wasn't sure how that worked, and I think they just must have missed it. So I emailed just to say, is this something that we can do, or what do you suggest if 30 days is not appropriate?
And I have one question about Corey. Who does it for the rest of the town, like the schools and other places where you have to have Corey checks?
I don't know who does it for schools.
So we could use like whatever we need to, an existing service or something.
It depends, yeah. And then we have one person in the townhouse that is able to do it for incoming staff. I don't know if that person would have the means to do like a bunch of people who did not work for the town. So that's more kind of that's like a big gray area for us, which is why I needed counsel to advise. Sorry, Liz, I'm still looking here to just see what the exact language that I put was. The language that I put was existing bodywork establishments and individuals who conduct bodywork shall submit applications for licensure to the Southborough Health Department within 30 days of passage of the regulations. And then my question was just to clarify, can we do this? And if we can, is 30 days a sufficient amount of time in their opinion?
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. Any
Yeah.
other questions there?
All right, shared health agent, Christopher Craig, start date. Taylor. do you-
So we interviewed 5 qualified candidates. We received many applications actually, which was great. And then Chris's application, experience, and interview stood out to us the most, and we extended an offer to him, which he accepted. He is coming to us from the Natick Health Department, and he is local, so he's very excited about that. And his start date is actually on Monday of next week. He is coming in tomorrow to meet with me because I will not be here Monday, unfortunately. So we have been working with IT in Northborough to get him all set up with computer, phone, just to get going. So on Monday, he'll report to Northborough just because Isabella will be there to greet him and kind of start there. And then he'll work with Dennis on Wednesday.
So if anybody has a chance Wednesday to pop in to meet him, that'd be great. If not, I think he'll mirror, at least at the beginning, Dennis's schedule. So you can certainly reach out to him if you want to pop in to introduce yourself and meet him. We'll have him on our January meeting so that people know who he is and we can welcome him. Yeah. So we're excited to have him.
Yeah.
And he comes with a lot of housing experience, so that will be great. Okay. All right. So Taylor is going on leave. Last Friday's her last day.
End of day Thursday, really.
Oh, Thursday.
I took a vacation day on Friday.
All right. Thursday. So we're gonna miss her for the time that she's out, but it's for a great reason. So we wish you all the best with
Thank you.
welcoming a new little girl into
Thank
the
you.
world.
Yeah, so I have all these emails drafted to all of you about who to contact in weird situations, so you'll get those on Thursday, and I just will include my personal cell phone number in there if you need anything, and don't feel bad if you need to text me. If I cannot reach it back at that time, I won't feel bad about not texting you back. So
Taylor,
Um,
I have a gift for you. This is on public record. That has been, my car's been at the dealership getting fixed for 4 weeks now.
oh my gosh.
And your gift is like sitting in the passenger side seat. And so I will have to just drop it off and meet the baby. So it's such a bummer.
Okay.
So just so you know, I do
Okay.
have those things for you at some point.
Thanks, Liz.
do you want to just give the board like a quick overview of like the structure that you have in place for things that come
Sure.
up, so they kind of understand like how the work's going to get disseminated while you're out?
Sure. Let me pull up what I wrote for my away message.
All right.
All right. So basically, Barbara is the boss. So, pretty much for any issues that come up, Barbara should be able to direct whomever into the correct place. But I just spelt it out a little bit more in my away message. But for septic inspections, people will continue to call the health department, talk to Barbara, she'll schedule something. Food inspections, if there's a problem or something, people should still continue to call the health department. And we can set something up with Michael to come do that. Michael is going to continue to do all food inspections in Southborough. And Chris will take the lead on housing in Southborough, but will still continue to share housing and nuisances with Michael as well. For any nursing, including if someone needs a flu vaccine, Penny, our shared nurse, would be able to either come in office or do a home visit for those who qualify for that. And her information is on the email as well. For any substance use prevention programs, or if people are requesting Narcan, they can contact Emily, who's our shared service coordinator. And for camps, I'll have Chris and Michael share reviewing those applications for now, and we'll see how that splits out. Chris Lund knows that if there's like a housing issue that needs to be looped in with Board of Health to contact, it will be Chris, Michael, and Chelsea for now, just so that Chelsea is kind of aware on a broader level of what's going on. And same thing with nuisances. Chelsea is getting those come from, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but you can fill out a nuisance complaint form online. So those now will get forwarded to Chelsea as well, just so that she's aware of them. What else? Chelsea also now has access to our Facebook page. So if there's something that needs to be shared, you can contact her to do that. Otherwise, Encompass remains in Emily's hands to do.
Melissa's going to do payroll.
Yep.
And then I will do payroll.
Yep.
I mean, Barbara will still put payroll together like she normally does. And
And
then,
Melissa will approve it.
yeah. So it's just the approval part.
Anything else people need clarification on? And it will, again, be all in my away message, and I'm sending an email to you all with that.
Great.
Don't call her.
We will
You can-
not. We will not.
You can call me, I just might not answer.
I might call you just for fun.
I am kind of I see myself being itchy to get out of the house on the sooner side, so.
We'll try not to bother you.
Okay. You can bother me with non-work things.
Okay.
Like send me pictures of your baby, things
Yeah,
like that.
right. Well, we definitely want to get that information. All right. So meeting schedule. So we're on for the 14th at 11.
Thumbs up.
All right.
Oh.
Should we pick February?
Sure.
Sure.
How's February 11th?
Looks good.
What time? You want to do 11 just so you can get to work? Is that easier for you, or is it easier to do it earlier? What's easier for you?
10 is ideal.
10?
That can happen, yeah.
All right, let's do that.
Okay.
And I don't know if select board and or advisory are gonna want to see us. Do you guys want to go to that meeting? Or no?
It's a Saturday.
Oh, right.
What Saturday?
Oh, I don't know.
Let me pull it up. Hang on.
And what would this be for specifically?
Budget, sorry, budget.
Oh, budget. Okay.
Give me 1 second. I gotta find the paper.
If I'm around, I can probably go.
Okay, I may need you to go because
Okay.
I coach a lot on Saturdays now.
I used to, my Saturdays were filled between soccer and hockey, but I miss it so much, Chelsea. I can't even tell you.
I know,
Miss it.
it's fun. I just am not available.
No, that comes
Um,
first. That comes first because that you can't get back.
Right.
Get that back.
There's not a date yet.
Okay.
But it's a February 2025 date.
Okay. That shouldn't be it might
Okay.
be one weekend I can't do, but they probably wouldn't do it the long weekend, right?
What day is it?
TBD,
know.
a Saturday.
Yeah.
Can let me know.
Yeah, as long as
Okay.
they don't do President's Day weekend, which I doubt they would.
I
Right?
doubt they would do that.
All right.
They're doing, so schools, DPW, fire and police on January 11th.
Mhm.
And it says tentative other departments may request to attend. So if we are notified that,
Okay.
we need to meet, it could be that day, but
Okay.
otherwise proposed budgets reviewed by advisory and select board is February 2025. Unless our audience member has some inside
Insight?
knowledge to the date.
Or if they're gonna ask us. I don't know. I can try to find out. Okay, and then just a reminder, town meeting is April 7th, which is a Monday.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
I will be there in a voting capacity.
There you go. All right. Any
right.
public comment? No. Okay. I move to adjourn at 9:53.
So moved and seconded. Liz says aye. I forget how we vote here.
Vote aye.
Malinowski's aye. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
You,
Thanks,
Taylor,
everyone.
all the best.
Thank you.
All right.
Good luck, Taylor.
Thank you.
All
Bye.
right.
Bye.